Hello, and welcome to Azeroth United, the podcast where we talk about World of Warcraft Dragonflight, World of Warcraft Classic, and everything in between. My name is Denethor, and I am your host. Welcome, everyone, to Azeroth United. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been quite the week, and we're recording this on Monday evening, rather than normal Tuesday or Wednesday. But we're gonna jump in. We've got a lot going on, but this is we're recording this a little early. So, but anyway, welcome, and we've got some discussions about the War Within, the hero talent trees that were revealed last week, right after we uploaded, and then we've got some talk about Dragonflight, and kind of the what's the legacy of Dragonflight. What are people going to look back on and remember about Dragonflight, and also we'll just go over everything that's happening this week in World of Warcraft, both Dragonflight and Season of Discovery. And I don't really count Wrath of the Lich King Classic anymore because I kind of feel like that's over. Same thing with Hardcore, but technically those are still active game modes, but in actuality, they're not. So, Anyway, we have a great show for you today, so why don't you go ahead and sit back and relax and enjoy. As always, if you have any questions or comments about the podcast, or if you have a particular topic that you'd like to hear discussed, please email me at denethor1@gmail.com, or you can leave a voice message by going to speakpipe.com/AzerothUnited. Also, if you enjoy the show, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That really helps out our distribution, so if you're inclined to do so, we'd be very grateful. So before I get into the news, I'd like to talk about what did I do last week in World of Warcraft. Well, technically this week is still going, but I can talk about it because what I did was I got my Druid in Season of Discovery to level 27. I finally got him. A few levels on there. I did a Dead Mines run. I did a Stockades run, and man, I'll tell you, people are spamming Stockade and Scarlet Monastery, and I can't. I can't do it. I actually had people who were like, "Oh, Druid, come! You have Wild Strikes, right? Yeah, come do our Stockade group." And I was like, "Oh, why? This is not fun." I get wanting to get to max level. I get that. I do. But it's not enjoyable to just spam dungeons. I can't. No, sorry. So yeah, got my Druid leveled up. I got a few levels on the Hunter as well, but that was mostly because I was saving. I wanted to hit the Dead Mines before I got to 25, before I lost my XP buff. So I parked my Druid at 24 in Westfall and did a couple quests on the Hunter. Got Hunter to 16, I think. But Season of Discovery is fun. It's really fun, and I'd like to play it more. But this is the problem that I'm having with Season of Discovery. It suffers from that where you feel like it's fake. It's you go, well, this is cool and all, but it's not real. These characters are going to go away. Now, we don't know that for sure. What Blizzard has not said what they're going to do with the Season of Discovery characters once they close down the seasonal servers. But I don't want to wait and find out. I don't want to invest in 7-8 alts just to have the characters go away. Now, I guess that's really not the point. The point is the experience. It's the real victory is the friends that we made along the way. Yeah, I know. I haven't made any friends. I'm in a guild on was it Wild Growth, I think, is the server that I'm on. Whatever the PvE server is. But everyone's nice, but I don't know. I feel like you got two people in Season of Discovery. You got the dads, and you got the edgy late teen, early 20-somethings. And that's about it. So, nice folks for the most part. It's actually kind of interesting because running Season of Discovery on the weekend, you get a lot of retail tourists, people who are like, yeah, play Dragonflight, but I like to pop on and do Season of Discovery for a little bit here and there. Which is cool. I mean, that's what I'm doing. that's me too. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying that's what it is. So anyway, Season of Discovery, a lot of fun. I really want to get to 40 within the next week or so that I can go to Domragon, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what I can do. In Dragonflight, I did a couple of keystones on my Fury Warrior and my Monk, and that was about it. I just you talk about the doldrums of late patch. I mean, I know that 10.2.5 only came out a few weeks ago, but I really, the season 3 is just it. As far as I'm concerned, it's pretty much done. We'll have another maybe 2 months of it, and then yeah, I'm ready for season 4. I'd like to. I was talking to someone about the season 4 dungeon pool, and I'm going, yeah, season 4, the dungeon pool will be really fun. And they were like, you do realize that Brackenhide is in the dungeon pool, right? I thought, oh crap. Dead key. But I feel bad because I feel like whoever designed Brackenhide, or the team that designed Brackenhide, they probably thought, oh, this is going to be a really cool, fun, open world type dungeon, and you can pick your path, you can go and it just sucks. It's just awful. So if you designed Brackenhide Hollow and you are listening to this, I'm sorry, but your dungeon sucks. So hopefully you also designed something cool like Algathar, because that one's fantastic. If I had to pick my top Dragonflight dungeons, I would go Algathar, Azure Vaults, Ruby Life Pools, and probably Oldemon. Yeah, those would be my top 4. The bottom 4 would be Neltharis, Brackenhide, No Code Offensive, and Halls of Infusion. Yeah, that's the Halls of Infusion is actually really fun, but there's just a couple of trash mobs that make it not fun. So anyway, yeah, season 3 kind of, for me anyway, personally winding down. I'm not really trying to push anymore. I might get a bug up my butt at some point and try and get the Monk to 2,000 rating, but for right now, he's just chilling, and I'm okay with that. I also might get the Frost Mage geared up. I'm probably not season 3, but in season 4, I'm going to get him geared up because he's probably going to be one of my main characters going into the War Within, because we'll get to it later, but I'll tell you, man, the Frostfire spec for mages, whew, that looks good. It looks tasty. So anyway, yeah, that's about all that's about all I got up to in WoW. I really didn't talk much about what I did in WoW. I'm just rambling. But we do have a lot to talk about, so let's get into it.
It's time for the news.
In Blizzard news, so the Warcraft team has announced the festivities for the 10th anniversary of Hearthstone. It's been 10 years already. Jeez. So they're going to do, first off, you can get if you log into Hearthstone from March 11th to May 14th, it just says to log in. I don't know if you have to complete any matches, but you can collect the Fiery Hearthsteed mount for World of Warcraft. So that's pretty cool. So it's actually really, it's the same as the Hearthsteed mount, but it's fiery. So, and then there will be some things going on in Azeroth from March 11th to March 18th. So definitely going to want to log in to check that out when that rolls around. That will probably coincide with the pirate patch. So I'm just going to start calling it the pirate patch instead of 10.2.6, because that's a mouthful, but pirate patch sounds like fun. Yeah, so I played Hearthstone when it first came out, and I was like, yeah, this is fun, and then I gave up. Yeah, so check that out. There will be a link in the show notes with some information about that. In addition, they announced the WoW Hardcore Self-Found mode will begin on February 29th. So yeah, this is pretty cool. This is the new hardcore. So you can't send or receive mail from players. You can't buy or sell on the auction house. You can't trade. This includes things like enchants, mage water. So I'm still not convinced that this is going to be as popular as maybe Blizzard is hoping. It will revitalize hardcore, but because one of the things that made it so popular on the unofficial hardcore servers was that it was solo self-found. So you couldn't even join a group. Now you'll be able to join a group, which a lot of the hardcore players are not interested in. And they'll be on realms that have players that are not self-found. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. I guess you'll still be able to join a group with your buddy and have him run you through the dead mines or whatnot. So I feel like that's there. Yeah, there's no point. But you know what? Some people are excited. So if you are, cool. Go check out the WoW Hardcore self-found mode on February 29th on Classic Era servers. Yeah. In other news, the Mythic Dungeon International will take place starting on February 16th. So we're going to have two groups, Group A and Group B. So Group A is 8 teams, and they're going to compete from February 16th to the 18th. And there will be a prize pool for Group A of $30,000. Group B will be February 23rd through 25th, and also 8 teams and $30,000. The global finals will be March 8th through the 10th, and that will be 8 teams, 4 from each of the groups. And the prize pool there is $200,000. That's a lot of scratch. $260,000 in prize money for the whole thing. That's okay. I guess they might have to fire some people to make that work. I'm sorry, it's too soon. That was terrible. You know what? I'm going to delete that. No, I'm not. And then I think you'll be able to watch it on Twitch TV, probably on YouTube as well. And there's some information about it on Raider.io, as well as on the World of Warcraft website. So I will have both of those linked in the show notes. So if you're interested in the MDI, the MDI is fun. It's okay. I really like the Great Push, but MDI is fun. I'd like to see how clever they get and how fast they go. You know, how big of a pull can you do? That sort of thing. That's really cool. The stuff that I could never do, I'm like, wow, that's out of my reach. But there's some players that's their thing. So pretty cool. So definitely want to check that out. Just a note here about the Spirit of Ekaro, which is a mount that you can get from Legion Archaeology. So this is your annual chance to get this mount. So there's a Wowhead link that I'll put in the show notes, but basically you have to go to the Broken Isles and do some archaeology there, and it's like a ghost moose mount or something in oh gosh, I can't even remember the name of the zone now. High Mountain. It's in High Mountain. Yeah, where the High Mountain Torrent are from. Way to go. So there's just a reminder that the Spirit of Ekaro is available on live servers right now through February 21st. So make sure you get it if you don't already have it, because it will be gone again until next year. This is a kind of a light news week. I was poking around a little bit. There's some rumblings about Overwatch 2 and a couple of things about Diablo, but really this is, I don't want to start delving into a bunch of different Blizzard products. So we're going to keep the news about World of Warcraft. That's it for the news. So let's go on to this week in World of Warcraft.
Let's talk about World of Warcraft.
This week is Dragonflight Season 3, Week 14. Oh, man. We're just trucking on. The Mythic Plus affixes for this week are Tyrannical, Storming, and Raging. So Tyrannical, of course, bosses have 30% more health and deal 15% more damage. Storming, tornadoes spawn around enemy creatures while in combat. Storming is a little rough, but I have found that if you're able to, as the tank, it would be a good job to eat the tornadoes. I mean, you just pretend that, like you're Godzilla and you're going to eat the tornado. Yeah, but storming is annoying. It's just, yeah. And then raging. Non-boss enemies enrage at 30% more health, or at 30% health, becoming immune to crowd control other than interrupts. Yeah. Okay, so I used to think, oh, raging's not that bad. Yeah, they're just, 30% health, they're almost dead. And then I started doing higher keys. Yeah. But still, this is a tyrannical week, so it's not so bad. You can still burn them down pretty fast, and yeah. I don't know. I thought last week was going to be a really good push week, but man, at this point in the season, it's all the tanks who don't know how to deal with Spiteful, and so my suspicion is that you're going to get a bunch of tanks who don't know how to deal with raging and storming. Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. So good luck. Enjoy your key runs. Boy. Yeah, I've said it before. Mythic Plus is my favorite game mode right now in WoW. I really love it. It's so much fun. I'm getting kind of sick of the affixes, though. I get that they're supposed to add an extra complexity and challenge. I get that. But holy crap, it gets hard at high level. Man, and I'm not even doing that high. I'm doing 16, 17, 18. What is this doing at like a 27? Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine. So storming will affect boss fights. So you'll have tyrannical storming. That's going to be really nasty. Raging, it only affects non-boss enemies. So that thankfully doesn't really have too much of a factor. The mobs should die pretty fast. But yeah, once they hit 30% health, you can't stun them. You can't CC them. You can't do anything but interrupt. So yeah, it sucks for when you're trying to pull big groups and you just stun them. Oh, nope. Yep, half of them are below 30% health. So you can't stun. So best of luck. The holiday or the bonus event this week is the Dragonflight dungeon event. So you can get the Son of the Warrior buff, which will allow for the final boss of each Dragonflight dungeon will drop an extra item. This does not unfortunately work for keystones because the final boss does not drop an item in a keystone. It's from the keystone chest. So he can't drop an extra item if he doesn't drop an item. Man, I really wish they would make that available for keystones. How great would it be? 3 items in every keystone. Oh, come on, Blizzard. What are you doing? And then you can also pick up the quest Emissary of War from Khazra and Valdrakken. This requires you to complete 4 dungeons on Mythic difficulty. This can be Mythic 0 or Keystone. And your reward will be a heroic Amir Drasil item. So best of luck on your trinkets. If you can get your Signet brand, that would be awesome. But more than likely, you'll get like a cloak or bracers or something that you already have. Yeah, so there you go. Dragonflight dungeon event is always kind of a highlight for me because you do get that heroic piece, and it's really nice. A little extra bonus. But yeah, I really wish that it would just drop an extra item at the end of the keystone, but sadly it does not. So your PvP brawl for this week is Deep 6. So this you get teams of 6 players going against each other in Warsaw Gulch, Silver Shard Mines, and Temple of Kotmugu. Each battleground offers a little variation on the traditional format. So you get like the flags are closer together in Warsaw Gulch. There are fewer carts in Silver Shard Mines and only 2 orbs in the Temple of Kotmugu. If you zone into the brawl, you can get the quest Something Different, which is to win a PvP brawl, and it will reward you with Conquest, Honor, and Marks of Honor. So that's pretty cool. If you don't really PvP, just remember that your Marks of Honor can get you the old transmog from different expansions past. So if that's something you're looking for, then I would definitely check that out. Let's see what else we have. The Lunar Festival and the Love is in the Air holidays are still ongoing. So for the Lunar Festival, make sure you pick up your Winding Slither Drake for 50,000 gold. It's actually really cool dragon riding armor. And for Loves in the Air, make sure you're running the boss every day for your X45 Heartbreaker mount and your Love armor for your renewed Proto Drake. And remember, you must be level 60 or higher to be eligible for the mounts. You must be this tall to ride. Yeah. So for the, let's see, that's it as far as the what's going on this week. There's really not a lot going on in Dragonflight. In Season of Discovery, it's really just, Nomergon week 2, and hopefully the PvP event in Stranglethorn Vale continues to get cleaned up, because it's a little brutal down there. It really is. So best of luck. Right, so let's move on into something new.
Let's talk about something new.
So I wanted to talk about these hero talents that got revealed by Blizzard. So we had some that they released back in December, I believe it was, which was where we get Death Knight, Evoker, Paladin, and Warrior. Which is cool. And now we got a new one for Druid, Hunter, Mage, and Priest. Yeah, so the the hero talents are really interesting because it's more. We have some choice nodes in there, which is cool. But it's a lot more reminiscent of the MoP era talents, where it's just like, I don't know, pick a talent based on your class. You're a balanced druid? Okay, well, you get two choices. You can either choose Keeper of the Grove or Elune's Chosen. Those are your two talent choices. Oh, you're a feral druid, Druid of the Claw, or Wildstalker. And there you go. It's not the, do you want to be more of a melee healer, or do you want to be or do you want to be a healer that goes into cap form, or do you want to be a healer that does balance spells? Do you want to be a healer that doubles down on their healing spells, or do you want to be a healer that can off tank, or no, you get two choices. And the choices are not terribly compelling so far. And I know that Blizzard has said that they are working on them, and this is not their final form, and that's fine. I will allow it. But if you really think about it, we're almost reverting back to, all right, you pick this one or that one, rather than, all right, well, I want to get to this talent, so I got to go down this branch of the tree, but I also want this talent, so I got to go down that branch of the tree. And I don't know. I feel like it's giving us less choice. It's not as bad as the Shadowlands Covenants, which a lot of people have compared this to. This is not that. This is not the Shadowlands Covenants, just because there's a visual component to it and a thematic component to it. It's not going to give us Shadowlands talent. You can still switch these when you change your talent spec. You go, oh, I'm doing M+. All right, I'm going to switch to my Keeper of the Grove build. Oh, I'm doing Raid. I'm going to switch to my Wildstalker build. I don't know what the Wildstalker one is. I'm just saying you couldn't choose based on what you're doing. I'm doing World Quest, so I have to switch for this boss, whatever. Right. So I'm gonna just kind of run through these real quick. But more so than anything, I kind of want to think about the future of World of Warcraft and how we can continue to have player agency and choices without it becoming boring, or without it becoming cumbersome like the Shadowlands Covenants were. So, alright, let's just run through this. Let's start with Keeper of the Grove. First things first, when you choose Keeper of the Grove, you automatically get a talent called Dream Surge. So, Force of Nature grants 3 charges of Dream Burst, causing your next Wrath or Starfire to explode on the target, dealing nature damage to nearby enemies. damage reduced above 5 targets. So obviously that's for balanced druids, and then for restoration druids, you get Grove Guardians cause your next targeted heal to create 2 dream petals near the target, healing up to 3 nearby allies, stacks up to 3 charges. Okay, so your Grove Guardians do a little bit better, and that's fine. Or your Treants do a little bit better, either one. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So that's your Keystone talent. Right. Then that drops down to the first level. These are your choices, and this isn't really a choice. This is, you get all these talents. This is not a, I hope you choose the right branch of your tree. No, you get all the talents. The only choice you have to make is you have a few choice notes, and we'll get down to those later. Okay. First off, Treants of the Moon. Your Treants cast Moonfire on nearby targets about once every 6 seconds. I don't know what that about is for, but I think that's just word bad typing, bad copy. Yeah, so your Treants cast Moonfire. So I guess I'm assuming this also means the Grove Guardians. Okay, I mean that's whatever. That's fine. So expansiveness, your maximum mana is increased by 5%, and your maximum astral power is increased by 20. Okay, that's fine. Nothing wrong there. Protective growth, your regrowth protects you, reducing damage you take by 8% while your regrowth is on you. Okay, that's actually pretty good. It's a good DR. Just keep regrowth on yourself all the time. You take 8% less damage. That's pretty cool. I like that. On the second level, we've got Power of Nature. So this is a choice. You can choose either Power of Nature or Durability of Nature. Your Power of Nature, basically your Treants no longer taunt and deal more damage. Or for Resto, your Grove Guardians increase the healing of your Rejuve, Efflorescence, and Life Bloom by 5% while active. That's Power of Nature. And then Durability of Nature, your Treants have 50% increased health, and your Grove Guardians' Nourish and Swiftmend spells also apply a minor Cenarian ward and heals the target over 8 seconds next time they take damage. So, okay. I mean, this is all fine. There's nothing wrong. First of all, I don't like the Grove Guardians. I think I don't like that gameplay. And when they changed that to make that kind of the focal point of the Resto Druid, I really just lost interest. My Resto Druid is dead to me, and yeah, so. But that's fine. Some people like that, and that's fine. Okay, next up we have Cenarius Might. This is still on tier 2. So we've got Casting Star Surge or Starfall increases the damage of your next Star Surge or Starfall by 10%, stacking up to 2 times. Casting another spell cancels this effect. Alright, so yeah, so lots of Star Surge and Starfall. Oh, I guess if you cast them several times in a row, you increase their damage. Okay, that's cool. Makes for interesting gameplay. So you build all the way up, and then you spam your Astral Power abilities, and then you build them back up again. Okay. Casting for Resto Druids, casting your Growth, Wild Growth, or Swift Mend, increase the healing of your next Regrowth, Wild Growth, or Swift Mend. Same deal. So if you toss out a Rejuve or you toss out a Life Bloom, it interrupts the effect. So yeah, this is less interesting for Resto Druids because, I mean, I guess you could go in sequence, do a Regrowth, then a Wild Growth, then a Swift Mend, then another Regrowth, then a... That's fine. And then finally, on tier 2, we have another choice node. So this gives us the choice between Grove's Inspiration and Persistent Enchantments. Grove's Inspiration is Wrath and Starfire damage increased by 12%. Regrowth, Wild Growth, and Swift Mend healing increased by 6%. Okay, so they're really going in hard on this Regrowth, Wild Growth, and Swift Mend. Very interesting. It's almost like they're trying to get away from the Efflorescence Life Bloom build. And then Persistent Enchantments. We have Orbital Strike applies Stellar Flare for 20 seconds, and Primordial Arcanic Pulsar grants Celestial Alignment for 2 additional seconds. Okay. And then Reforestation grants Tree of Life for 2 additional seconds. Alright, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Alright, on tier 3, we've got Bounteous Bloom. I'm sorry. This is another choice note. So we got Bounteous Bloom or Early Spring. Bounteous Bloom is your tree ants generate 3 astral power every 2 seconds, and your Grove Guardian's healing is increased by 20%. Okay. Or Early Spring, which is Force of Nature cooldown reduced by 10 seconds, and Grove Guardian's cooldown reduced by 3 seconds. All right, that's fine. If you really like the Grove Guardians or your tree ants, that's cool. I mean, so this is a lot of pet play. This tree is like all in on your tree ants. So, cool. Next up, we have another choice node, which is Power of the Dream or Control of the Dream. So, Power of the Dream gives us, let's see, Force of Nature grants an additional stack of Dream Burst. Healing spells cast with Dream Surge generate additional Dream Petal. Various Might increases spell damage or healing by additional 5%. Okay. Control of the Dream, time elapsed while your major abilities are available to be used is subtracted from that ability's cooldown after the next time you use it up to 5 seconds. Time elapsed while your major abilities are available to use. Okay. So I guess if you have to hold your cooldowns, it gives you less of a cooldown when you finally do use it. Okay. Up to 5 seconds. Alright, that's fine. So if you're like, I'll hold up, I'll wait until I... Okay. And then also affects Nature, Swiftness, Incarnation, Tree of Life, Force of Nature, Celestial Alignment, and Convoke with Spirits. Oh, I see. It's those abilities that are affected. Okay, that's cool. I like it. Yeah, get a little extra 5 seconds, so that could make or break a key. And then finally on tier 3 we have another this is not a choice node, this is just Blooming Infusion. Every 5 regrowths you cast make your next Wrath, Starfire, or Entangling Roots instant and increase the damage it deals by 100%. Or alternately, every 5 Star Surges or Starfalls you cast make your next regrowth or Entangling Roots instant. Alright, that's pretty cool. A little bit of healing on Balanced Druids or balance spells on Resto Druids, so that's fine. And then your capstone talent is Harmony of the Grove. Each of your Force of Nature tree ants increase the damage you deal by your spells deal by 3% while active. Okay, so if you have multiple tree ants up, each one gives you 3%. So you've got 3 up, you get 9%. Each of your Grove Guardians increases your healing done by 3% while active. Again, same thing. If you have 3 up, you get 9%. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, like I said, I don't like the Grove Guardians. I haven't played Balance for BFA, I think was the last time I played Balance. So it's been a few years. I'm terrible at Balance Druid. The Eclipse mechanic just kills me every time. But anyway, and then Resto Druid, I really like the Efflorescence Life Bloom build. That was really big in Season 1, but I do not like the Grove Guardians. So, yeah, if this is your thing, if you're really big on the tree ants, then great. This is a really good option for you, Keeper of the Grove. I'm hoping that the Wild Stalker is a much better option for a Resto Druid. Otherwise, yeah, my Resto Druid will be taking a expansion off. So, there you go. That is the Druid hero talent. Next up, we have the Hunter talent tree, which is Dark Ranger. So this is for Beast Mastery and Marksmanship. So first up, Black Arrow. 30-second cooldown. Fire a black arrow into your target, causing it to take shadow damage every 2 seconds for 16 seconds. Each time Black Arrow deals damage, you have a chance to reset the cooldown of Aim Shot or Barbed Shot. Okay, so this is cool. I like this. This is a new shot, and right off the bat, it helps you reset your cooldown. So I like that a lot. The first tier, we've got Ranger's Finesse. Aim Shot and Rapid Fire deal 15% increased damage. Barbed Shot and Kill Command deal 15% increased damage. Okay, more damage. I'm not going to complain about that. Dark Hounds. Each time Black Arrow deals damage, you have a chance to manifest an undead hound to charge your target and deal shadow damage. Okay. Yeah. Sure. This is like a demon dog from Stranger Things. Is that what Okay. Calm down, buddy. That's it. And then The third one on the first row is Death Shade. When you apply Black Arrow to a target, you gain the Death Blow or Hunter's Prey effect. Doesn't tell us what that is, but yeah, that's cool. Yep. Going down to the next row, we've got a choice node, Dark Empowerment or Grave Reaper. So, Dark Empowerment, when Black Arrow resets the cooldown of an ability, you gain 15 focus. Cool. Grave Reaper, when a target affected by Black Arrow dies, the cooldown of Black Arrow is reduced by 12 seconds. Okay, that's cool. It's a good when you're clearing trash mobs. All right. Next up, choice node, Embrace the Shadows. You heal for 15% of damage dealt by you or your pets. Shadow damage dealt by you or your pets. Okay. Or Smokescreen. Exhilaration grants you 3 seconds of Survival of the Fittest. Survival of the Fittest activates Exhilaration at 50% effectiveness. Okay, that one's good. And then finally, Dark Chains. Disengage will choose the closest target to the ground. Disengage will chain the closest target to the ground, causing them to move 40% slower until they move 8 yards away. That's really going to get you out of the way. So, pretty cool. I like that. But that probably won't have any horrible ramifications in PvP. Okay. Row 3. Intense Darkness. When True Shot or Call of the Wild is active, Black Arrow deals damage 50% faster. Okay. 50% faster, so I guess it's every second and a half. Okay, that's good. Shadow Surge. When multi-shot hits a target affected by Black Arrow, a burst of shadow energy erupts, dealing moderate shadow damage to all enemies near the target. Okay, so this is your cleave. All right, I like that. This can only occur once every 6 seconds. Okay, well, that's not great, but okay. And then the last one is another choice node, Darkness Calls. All shadow damage you and your pets deal increased by 10%. Or Shadow Assassin. Kill Shot has a 15% chance to generate a charge of aim shot or barb shot when used on a target affected by Black Arrow. Okay, so we've really gone all in on this Black Arrow, which I think is really cool. So I guess this is just what they're going to do with these trees. Is you get your capstone, or you get your keystone, and it's going to be a new ability, and then all of your talents are going to build on that until you get to your capstone, which gives it some extra dimension. Like in this case, the capstone is Withering Fire. When Black Arrow resets the cooldown of aim shot or barb shot, a barrage of dark arrows strikes your target for shadow damage and increases the damage you and your pets deal by 10% for 6 seconds. That's pretty cool. Okay. So, and now one thing that I've noticed about this tree is it's very single target focused. And I know that right now Beast Mastery hunters are like cleave machines, so I'm not sure if this is going to be more for like boss fights. This might be let me switch to my Dark Ranger spec for the boss fight. I mean, there is some AoE cleave ability in here, but for the most part, it's very single target focused, based on which target has your Black Arrow. Black Arrow has a 30 second cooldown, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. Once we get into the alpha, I guess. So, well, not we get into the alpha, but once somebody gets in the alpha and starts posting some some details about it. So, all right. So that's hunters. All right. Next up, we have the Frostfire Mage. So this is obviously for frost and fire specialties. Okay, yeah, this one's kind of interesting actually, because it's a lot of interplay between the two specs. So at the top, the keystone ability is Frost Fire Mastery. Your damaging fire spells generate 1 stack of Fire Mastery, and frost spells generate 1 stack of Frost Mastery. Fire Mastery increases your haste by 1%, and Frost Mastery increases your mastery by 1% for 12 seconds. Stacking up to 8 times each, adding stacks does not refresh the duration. Okay. That's fine. Okay, so let's go to the first row. we have a choice node, which is Imbued Warding or Meltdown. Yeah, it's interesting. So Imbued Warding, Fire, Blazing Barrier also casts an Ice Barrier at 25% effectiveness. And for Frost, Ice Barrier also casts a Blazing Barrier at 25% effectiveness. This also affects your Mass Barrier for both of those effects. So, like I said, a little bit of interplay there. Or Meltdown, you melt slightly out of your Ice Block and Ice Cold, allowing you to move slowly during Ice Block and increasing your movement speed over time. Ice Block and Ice Cold trigger a blast wave when they end. Okay, alright. That's kind of cool. Yeah, that's a very interesting defensive node there. Yeah, it would be interesting to see how that plays out because I have a Frost Mage and he's a lot of fun, but yeah, he's squishy. He's really squishy. So having a little bit of extra defense might be kind of nice. Okay, Frostfire Bolt. So this replaces Frostbolt and Fireball. So this is your main generator for both specs. Launches a bolt of Frostfire at the enemy, dealing Frostfire damage, slowing movement speed by 50% and causing an additional Frostfire damage over 8 seconds. Frostfire Bolt generates a stack of both Fire and Frost Mastery. So if we go back up to the Keystone talent, which is Fire Mastery gives you 1% haste, and Frost Mastery gives you 1% mastery. So every time you cast Frostfire Bolt, you get one of each, which is kind of cool. Yeah, so that's interesting. Okay, so we have another choice node here, which is either Elemental Affinity or Flame and Frost. For Elemental Affinity, we have the cooldown of Frost spells is reduced by 10% for Fire, and for Frost, the cooldown of Fire spells is reduced by 30%. Wait a minute. Fire gets Frost spells cooldown reduced by 10%. Okay. But Frost gets Fire spells cooldown reduced by 30%? That's not fair. Well, I guess if you really break it down, it probably makes sense, but I'd have to go through all the spells between the two specs to see that. So, okay, Flame and Frost is the other choice. Fire, Cauterize resets the cooldown of your Frost spells with a base cooldown shorter than 4 minutes when it activates. Oh, okay. So if you're about to die, you get all your Frost spells reset. Cool. And then for Frost, Cold Snap additionally resets the cooldown of your Fire spells. Okay, cool. Like I said, some interesting interplay there. All right. Row 2. Isothermic Core. Comet Storm now also calls down a Meteor, and a Meteor calls down a Comet Storm. All right. Cool. Another choice node, Severe Temperatures. Casts Frost or Fire spells. I'm sorry. Casting Frost or Fire spells increases the damage of your next Frostfire Bolt by 6%, stacking up to 5 times. Okay, cool. And then Thermal Conditioning is the other choice. Frostfire Bolt's cast time is reduced by 10%, which I guess that's 0.2 seconds. So, yeah, 1.8 seconds. I'll take that. Okay. Next is Frostfire Infusion. Your Frost and Fire spells have a chance to trigger an additional bolt of Frostfire, dealing Frostfire damage. This effect generates Frostfire Mastery when activated. Okay. Just, if you want some Frost or some Fire, your Frostfire will give you more Frostfire with your Frost and your Fire. Fun! Okay. I feel like some of these, they were just like, I don't know, make it do more stuff. Alright, third row. Excess Frost. So for Fire, reaching maximum stacks of Frost Mastery causes your next Phoenix Flames to also cast Ice Nova at 200% effectiveness. When you consume excess Frost, the cooldown of Meteor is reduced by 5 seconds. Huh. Okay, for Frost, reaching maximum stacks of Frost Mastery causes your next Flurry to also cast Ice Nova at 200% effectiveness. When you consume excess Frost, the cooldown of Comet Storm is reduced by 5 seconds. Okay, so this is interesting. This is really just going all in on Frost, but okay, yeah, I will say I'm not really clear on that one. It looks more like if you use Frost spells, you get an effect doesn't really help fire, so... okay. Frostfire Empowerment. Your Frost and Fire spells have a chance to activate Frostfire Empowerment, causing your next Frostfire bolt to always critically strike, explode for 80% of its damage to nearby enemies, and to be instant cast. Now that's a talent. I like that a lot. Okay. Anytime I get a really cool instant cast like that, I'm in. And especially if it's always going to be a crit, oh, that's going to feel good. I like that. And it's a cleave. Oh man, that's a good spell. I like that a lot. Okay. Here we go. So excess fire, reaching maximum stacks of fire mastery, causes your next fire blast to apply living bomb. When this living bomb explodes, reduce the cooldown of Phoenix Flames. And then for frost, reaching maximum stacks of fire mastery causes your next ice lance to apply living bomb. And when it explodes, you gain brain freeze. Okay, so you have excess frost and excess fire. And like I said, you get all of these choices. It's just, maybe you'll get one at level 77 and one at level 78 or whatever. But you will have both of those at level 80. You don't have to make a choice. And then at the bottom, the capstone talent is Flash Freeze Burn. Frostfire Empowerment grants you maximum benefit of Frostfire Mastery and refreshes its duration. Now here we go. Activating Combustion or Icy Veins grants you Frostfire Empowerment. Cool. So when you do Combustion or Icy Veins, you get extra benefit from your Frostfire Mastery. And it resets the duration, or refreshes the duration, I should say. That's really cool. Okay, yeah, this is good. I like this. I might have to play around with this, because I have switched back and forth between fire and frost over the years. Ultimately, I like frost a little bit better, because I'm not in love with the combustion mechanic. Or the Sun King Salvation or whatever it is. But yeah, this is cool because it gives me access to the fire tree without having to be fire. So that's fun. Yeah, I like this a lot. I think this is good. The other choice for Frost Mage is going to be, let's see, I have that written down here. It is Frostfire or Spellslinger, which is a choice for Arcane or Frost. So I'll probably be going Frostfire. It's like the new elemental build. I like it. I like that a lot. All right. Last one is the Priest tree. So the priests get the Oracle tree, and this one's caused a little bit of controversy online. Yeah. So because the keystone talent is Premonition. Premonition replaces Power Infusion. The 1 minute cooldown, and it gives you access to 3 buffs: Solace, which increases your target's healing received by 25%. Insight increases your target's magic damage dealt by 10%. Or Glory increases your target's physical damage dealt by 10%. Right. And these are all for 10 seconds. So the thing with this is, I guess you activate it, and then it cycles through each of these 3 buffs every second. So it'll cycle through, and then when you get the one you want, you hit the button again, and it buffs your target. This sounds awful. It just sounds terrible. I don't know which one of the devs sat down and was like, yeah, that's a good idea. But this sounds awful. Okay, let's just run through these. First row, preventative measures increases the damage absorbed by Power Word Shield by 10% and the healing done by Prayer of Mending by 10%. Sorry, this is for Discipline and Holy. So, the Oracle. Next is Preemptive Care. Increases the duration of Atonement by 1 second and increases the duration of Renew by 3 seconds. Okay, that's fine. I'll take that. And then a Choice Node. Waste no time. Premonition causes your next Power Word, Radiance, Heal, or Prayer of Healing to be instant cast and cost 15% less mana. Okay. Or Miraculous Recovery. Reduces the cooldown on Power Word Life by 3 seconds and allows it to be usable on targets below 50% health. Alright, that's fine. Right. Row 2, we have Assured Safety. Power Word Shield applies 1 stack of Prayer of Mending, and Prayer of Mending casts Power Word Shield at 20% effectiveness. Yeah, this is kind of interesting, trying to create some interplay between those two. Next up is a Choice Node. Prompt Deliverance reduces the cooldown of Purify by 2 seconds. Or Divine Feathers. When an ally walks through your Angelic Feather, you're also granted 100% of its effect. Huh. This is like Blessing of Freedom, where if you cast it on someone else, you get the effect as well. Okay, foreseen circumstances. Pain suppression reduces damage taken by an additional 10%, and Guardian Spirit lasts an additional 2 seconds. Alright, that's fine. It's not super compelling, but it's fine. Okay. Third row. Grand Reveal. When your Power Word Shield is fully absorbed, or your Prayer of Mending heals, gain a stack of Grand Reveal. At 150 stacks, gain an additional charge of Premonition. Okay, so this is for long fights. I wonder if that resets when you're out of combat. I'd be curious to see that. Okay. Finally, not finally. We have 2 more. And then the capstone. Choice Node, Perfect Vision. Reduces the cooldown of Premonition by 10 seconds. Okay. Or Versatile Divinations. I don't know how I misread that. Premonition can now trigger the Brilliance and Urgency effects. So Brilliance restores 5% of your target's mana, or Urgency increases your target's haste by 12%. Okay, so I guess if you choose this one, I guess it's now going to cycle through 5 choices, one every second, so you have to wait 5 seconds to... This is terrible. They've got to change this. This is awful. All right, the third one on the third row is a choice node, Divine Providence. Increases the duration of your premonition effects by 2 seconds, so it goes from 10 to 12 seconds. Or premonition's effect is increased by 30% if the divine spell is different than the previous premonition. So if you keep using the same one over and over again, it doesn't do anything. But if you switch your effect, maybe you go from a rogue to a mage, then those effects will be increased by 30%. So yeah, this is really... a lot of people have compared this to Aug Evoker, and this is definitely a support spec. The capstone is Clairvoyance. Premonition has a low chance to grant you Clairvoyance. Clairvoyance grants your target and 2 nearby allies all the effects of Premonition at 100% effectiveness. All the effects of Premonition. Okay. So that means if you use it and you proc Clairvoyance, then your whole group is super buffed. But if you don't, then your group feels terrible. And they hate you. I despise this. I already hate my priest, but this is just terrible. I haven't watched all the takes that are on YouTube and whatnot, but I gotta say this is pretty lousy. So, all right. Well, that's gonna wrap this section up. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that Blizzard releases these a little bit more frequently. And I know that these are all works in progress, so any of these particular spells or numbers or any of that stuff can change. But yeah, this does make me a little nervous because I feel like we're getting shoehorned into a specific role, and I know we can choose between 2. I get that. But nothing feels worse than when you're like, man, that Oracle playstyle is miserable, but it's the meta, so I've got to do it. That stinks. Or whatever the spec is. I mean, they all have their ups and downs. And we haven't seen any of the others. We've only seen 8. There's 13 classes, so actually I think we've seen 9 because we've seen 2 of the Druid ones. But look, the War Within is going to be here really soon, and they are still working on this. So I know that they're just, the framework is there. They're just tweaking the numbers. So feedback is best. Give it clear, specific, concise feedback to the devs if you can. I think that would be great. And I think that it's something that as players, if you have a vested interest in a particular class that you see and you're like, wow, this is terrible, you need to say something. Post your feedback. Whatever you put it on the forums, whatever you can do. I think it's important. But if you love it, say something there too. Hey, this new Oracle hero talent tree is fantastic. I love it. Okay, we'll say that then. All right, that's it. That's it for something new. We're going to move on to the weekly rant.
It's time for the weekly rant.
So I posted this question on Reddit, and I was curious because I know what I think, but I wanted to see what the people think. And I got a few responses, not a whole lot, but it's enough to kind of draw some initial conclusions from. So the question I posed was, what was your favorite Dragonflight system or feature? Now that we're running to the end of the expansion, it's run its course, what was your favorite feature? And I got some interesting responses. But more so, I think it kind of made people think, because you go, well, I liked the quests, but I didn't like the storyline. Or I liked the Mythic Plus dungeons, but I didn't like the Dragonflight dungeons, or whatever. So there was definitely some mixed opinions. I have a top 10 list here I'm going to go through, but really this is I think the fact that we have such a varied number of responses here shows that there is a lot in Dragonflight, and there is a lot for everyone. Everybody who's playing World of Warcraft right now has something that they liked, and the people that don't, they've stopped playing. So I feel like the takeaway of Dragonflight is going to be that this is probably one of the best expansions we've ever had. Not because it has this memorable, amazing feature like the class order halls in Legion, or the artifact weapons, or having the most iconic villain ever in Arthas. But I think that this is just going to go down as a really good, strong, overall, just overall good expansion. Yeah. So this is like the Byron Scott of expansions. It's really good, but not great at anything. Sorry, it's a 80s basketball reference for you. All right, let's just go through this. Number 10, the questing and the storyline. So, yeah, there was some issues with the Dragonflight storyline, but overall, the questing was good. The Blue Dragonflight questline was great. The tier storyline I felt was really good. I didn't love the fact that it was chopped up over several patches, but I do understand that you have to kind of string people along. The main Dragonflight story of dealing with Razagath, and then the Incarnates coming out, and eventually Furak trying to destroy the tree, and that wasn't great. I really liked some of the Black Dragonflight legacy questlines in Zaralot Cavern, even though I didn't really like Zaralot Cavern. I hated all the loam Niffin stuff. Oh, God. But, yeah, I'd say anything to do with the Tuskar was great. Anything to do with I liked the Dragon Expedition stuff. I didn't particularly care for some of the NPCs, but I felt like the stories were actually really good. It's just some of the NPCs were a little obnoxious, especially on the Alliance side. Looking at you, Toddy Whiskers. Yeah, so questing storyline, number 10. Number 9, we have follower dungeons. Yes, this is a brand new feature, and we got several mentions. And one of those was for me, because I'll tell you, I really like the follower dungeons. It's really good. Just to be able to play with my weak auras and jump into a dungeon. It's great. I love the follower dungeons. The NPCs are great. You can go pull whatever you want, and the tank will grab it off of you, and not complain, like a real tank. Yeah, I think this is a great feature, and I hope that this is a feature that Blizzard really puts a lot of time and attention into going forward, because, yeah, I could see a lot more people playing World of Warcraft if they had a way to ease them into some of the endgame content. But what happens is people level up, and then they go, well, I'm too intimidated to do any of this stuff because I joined a dungeon, I got yelled at. Well, this is a way to kind of ease into it. So follower dungeons, definitely a great feature, and really hoping to see more. I think this would have been higher up if it had been released at launch. But anyway. Number 8 is raids. Yeah, so this is a tough one, because while we had a great... Razagath was probably the best raid boss in the last, 10 years. Maybe top 5, but she's definitely the best of the expansion. And then we have the Amirdrasil raid, which is pretty good. And Furak is a banger of a boss. Tendril Sage Swift is a really interesting boss fight. But overall, the raids kind of lacked. Aberrus was boring from start to finish. Most of the Vault of the Incarnates was kind of boring. Grim Totem was a good fight. I liked that one, but I don't know. The raids were okay. I think you can pick out a couple of key boss fights. from the Vault of the Incarnates and from Amirdrassil, but overall, I'd say, yeah, the raids were good, but definitely not one of the top features in the expansion. So it comes in a number 8. And I do think that if we had 4 raids instead of 3, this would have been higher, but Blizzard shortchanged us on the raids. So there you go. Number 7, Mythic Plus dungeon pools. Yeah, okay, so this is a really good one. I think that, especially coming after BFA and Shadowlands, where it's like, hey, guess what? You get to do the same dungeons again and again and again. So Blizzard said, okay, well, we can mix this up. We're going to throw in old dungeons. They tested this out in Shadowlands Season 4. They realized, hey, this could actually work. And yeah, sure enough, it did. And this is probably my favorite dungeons are the ones that are the older ones that have been retuned for Dragonflight Mythic Plus. I got to tell you, the 8 original Dragonflight dungeons, not the best. They're really not. Their design team tried, and they did a pretty good job. But I would pick, if I was going to pick my top 10, I don't think any of the Dragonflight dungeons would be in there as far as the Mythic Plus dungeon pool for this expansion. So I love the way they handled it. I like how they added some dungeons from different expansions. The way they spread that out is just great. I even don't mind the fact that we had to do Court of Stars for 6 months. That wasn't even as bad as I thought it was going to be. But Mythic Plus dungeon pools, really good showing there. Number 6, we have the Drakthir or the Evokers. Primarily the Evokers. I think people were less impressed with the Drakthir, but they are one and the same. So if you want to be an Evoker, you got to be a Lizard. So people really like the Evokers, especially augmentation and the hold to cast casting style. I think was really impressive to people. It was really fun being able to rescue, fly around, Dragon Breath, just overall. And now with patch 2.5, they can Dragonfly. I mean, it's just, they're a really cool class. I did resurrect my Evoker, changed him to augmentation, ran a couple of keystones with him, and then I got bored because augmentation might be great for running high keys, but it's actually kind of boring to play. Personally, I think it is. Some people might really like it. So yeah, Drakthir or Evoker primarily, number 6 on the list. So that's a good showing there. Number 5, we have the Profession system. So yeah, the Profession system saw a huge upgrade, modification at the beginning of Dragonflight, and it's been iterated on since, but it's mostly the way it was introduced in patch 10.0. I love the Profession system. I think it's been great. I've discussed this before in previous episode, but I think there are some things that could be cleaned up maybe going into the War Within, but I think that overall the Profession system has been great. I love being able to have upgrade or to create raid level gear with the Profession system. I think that was such a great implementation, the way they did it. I loved it. I think as long as they continue to improve on this and listen to some player feedback, this Profession system that they've introduced is going to be great, and it's going to last for a long time because there's a lot of depth to it. The specializations, the knowledge points, there's just so much to it that was great. And I'm really hoping that we see a lot more involvement from the professions going forward. Number 4, world content and public events. So this is a huge one for people who are maybe they don't have time to do any endgame content, or they're intimidated by it, or they just don't like grouping up with other people. This is a great... there were so many... Well, I tried to list out all of the world events, and I was like, okay, we'll start with the feast, and then we got the hunt, and then we got the assault on Dragonbane Keep, and then we got... And I started going through the list, and I was like, holy crap, there was a lot. We had the Farak Assaults, we had the Researchers, we had the Time Rifts, we had the Dream Search, we have the Super Bloom, we have the Emerald Frenzy, we have the Azerothian Archives. And you could go even smaller than that. You go all of the stuff that they had in Zerlak Cavern. You had the Scarab Vaults, you had the the Sniff and Seek. I mean, there were so many things to do in the world. The world felt alive. This is the most alive that the world has felt since Legion, honestly, and it's great. I love it. This is Yeah, this is easily one of my favorite new features in Dragonflight, and I really hope that this continues going forward. Now, I'm a little nervous about the War Within because it feels like the zones are going to be a little bit more segregated, but we'll see. I will give Blizzard the benefit of the doubt on this, and we'll see going forward. Number 3 was the talent trees. Yes, the talent tree update was fantastic. People really liked the talent trees. I think that while, so there's some frustration with, we're back to 3 cookie cutter builds. Well, yeah, but you can go in and you can tweak one talent choice based on what fight you're doing, based on what dungeon you're doing, or based on what content you're doing. Like, I'm just doing the open world. I'm going to have all of these other things on me. I'm going to have all my self-healing talents because I don't have a healer with me. So I'm going to reduce my DPS, but I'm going to buff my self-healing. Okay, great. You can do that. It gives you flexibility. I have a talent build on some of my characters called Legacy Content, which increases my speed because, when you're running through Molten Core or Blackwing Lair and you're just like, oh, this is forever and I'm going to one-shot the boss anyway, so who cares? Yeah, give me more speed. I'll take the speed boost. So, yeah, I think the talent tree system has been great. I'm really happy with it. I'm a little nervous about the hero talents in the War Within again. We'll see. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and hopefully, as feedback comes in, like I told you to do, make sure you submit your feedback to Blizzard. I'm hoping that they really kind of tighten this up, and we have some really great evergreen features for the future of the game. Number 2 was the upgrade system, which includes the Catalyst, even though that was technically a Shadowlands feature. But the upgrade system with the flight stones and the crest, when I first read about it, I was like, this sounds so stupid. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It's fantastic. It's not just good for upgrading. It's good for just you have your own character progression within your upgrade system. Now, yeah, there's some kinks in it. Like when I was playing my monk, I was questioning, well, should I catalyze my veteran gear or should I just wait till I get champion gear? Okay, so yeah, there's some things, but it's going to be anything. And honestly, I'd rather have that difficulty in my gear upgrade process than what it was in Season 1, where it's just like, well, hope you enjoy your raid gear that you can't do anything with. And Mythic Plus gear completely blew it out of the water. So raid gear was completely worthless in Season 1, except for trinkets. Or Mythic Raid, which, good luck. Because even Heroic Raid, you could get better from doing Mythic Plus. So anyway, the upgrade system was great. They cleaned it up in Season 3, and I hope that that's something that continues to get cleaned up and worked on. I love that you can upgrade your crests. If you can't use them, you can't use we can't use Whelpling anymore, so you can upgrade them to Drake. I think that was a great addition. I even like the Flight Stones, and as frustrating as they can be, Flight Stones, I feel like you either never have enough or you always have too many. But you know what? That's good, because currency should be something you have to think about before you spend it. Otherwise, why have it? Why have it be a currency if you don't have to think about it? So, yeah, upgrade system. And number 1, of course, it has to be dragon riding. Oh my goodness. So good. This is by far one of the best features ever introduced to the game. It's so good. I love the dragon riding races. I love the customization. I love just everything about it. It's so good. The speed with which you go. And now that we can go to the old world in Dragon Ride, oh my gosh, it is amazing. Even at 85%, it's still lightning fast compared to the slow mount, or the TBC style flying mount. So good. Such a great system. And so it's dragon riding, and we're in the Dragonflight expansion, but going forward it'll be dynamic flying, and it's just going to be a new part of the game, and I am here for it. I'm so glad that Blizzard did this, and I'm so glad that it's going to be a feature that's carried forward, and that they're not saying, oh no, you got to go to the Dragon Isles dragon ride. No, this is here, and it's here to stay. Including hopefully some customizations for some of these mounts. I'd love to see some new customization options for some of these old mounts that we've got. How cool would that be? Anyway, that's a wish list. Maybe I'll do a wish list episode at some point. Dragon riding, by far the best feature of Dragonflight, and I think pretty much everyone can agree on that. So, well done, Blizzard. Well done. This is a great expansion. Easily in my top 3, maybe even in my top 2. Yeah, I would say this is by far one of the best efforts they've ever done, because even though there were some misses from things like the storyline and some of the different components, overall this has been a great expansion. Now, one thing that I didn't even get mentioned is the user interface. I think the user interface is fantastic. The fact that Blizzard keeps iterating on it and keeps making adjustments to it, it's been great. I don't even use a user interface add-on anymore because I don't need to. I can just use the built-in user interface. It's great. I love it. But nobody mentioned that in the post, and I even forgot to put it in the initial list that I put on the post, but that's okay because I just brought it up anyway. So user interface, honorable mention. We're doing the Watch Mojo style of top 10 list. Here are a few honorable mentions. Anyway, all right, enough of that. That's our show for today. Thank you so much for listening. It's been a pleasure to be able to talk at you for the last hour or so. Really appreciate you tuning in and listening. As always, if you have any questions or comments about the podcast, or if you want to email me about just anything in particular, you can get a hold of me at denethar1@gmail.com, or you can reach out to me on X Twitter. I am at Denethar. You will occasionally catch me streaming World of Warcraft or World of Warcraft Classic. My Twitch handle is Denethar01, or on YouTube, which is also Denethar01. So yeah, again, thank you for tuning in, and until next time, be good to each other out there. Remember, that's another person on the other side of that keyboard, so be nice, smile, and just be good to each other. I love you all. Thank you, and I'll see you in Azeroth.